vastness of space only you fully fathom. It's so wonderful to see my good friends if you're at Six Back, and Penny has agreed to light Shabbat candles tonight. It's page 120 and 121 in your Sidurim.
Say, after a long vacation, 3 weeks, it seemed like it was long. And it's good to be back in the synagogue. And I'm glad that Rabbi Moch is here. As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat.
Amen. Let us lift our voices together in prayer. At the very bottom of page 127. We offer thanks, O God, for this Shabbat, which unites us in faith and hope, for Shabbat holiness, which inspires sacred living, for Shabbat memories glowing even in darkness, for Shabbat peace, born of friendship and love. We offer thanks and blessing, O God. Page 129. We sing of the love we have for God on this day and for the love we have for the Sabbath bride with whom we unite our lives. Dodi li, my beloved is mine, va'ani lo, and I am my beloved's. page 138, we join in welcoming the Sabbath bride as she enters with the first, second, fifth, and ninth verses of Lecha Dodi, and the last will rise and face the door as the Sabbath bride enters. Lecha Dodi. Lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. 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 שמור וזכור בדיבור אחד, השמיענו אל המיוחד, אדוני אחד ושמו אחד, לשם ולתפארת ולתחילה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. לקראת שבת לכו בניך, כי מקור הברכה, מראש מקדם ניסוחה, סוף מעשה במחשבה תחילה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. התעוררי, כי באורי קומי אורי, אורי, שיר דברי, כבוד אדוני עלייך נגלה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. בואי חלה, בשלום עטרת מעלה, גם בשמחה ובצהלה, תוך אמוני עם סגולה. בואי חלה, lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. lecha Dodi, לקראת כלה, פני שבת מקבלה. Page 140. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. להגיד בבוקר חסדך, ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. The bottom paragraph, Tzadik tamar yifrach, ke'erez balevanon yizgesh tulim beveit Adonai בחצרות אלוהינו יפריחו. עוד ינובון בשיבה, דשנים ורעננים יהיו, להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולתה בו. Page 144. If you are able, please rise for Chatzi Kaddish. Yitgadal v'yitkadash Shemei Rabba B'alma divarach irutei v'yamlich malchutei B'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayedecho Beit Yisrael Ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'yemeru Yehi Shmei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'le'almei almaya Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh v'yithadar v'yit'aleh v'yit'alal Shemei dekudesha brichu le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush behata v'nehemata da'amiran bi'alama v'yimeru Amen. Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach leolam va'ed. Please be seated. Page 149. Please pray with me. This is an hour of change. Within it, we stand uncertain on the border of light. Shall we draw back or cross over? Where shall our hearts turn? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? This is the hour of change, and within it, we stand quietly on the border of light. What lies before us? Shall we draw back, my brother, my sister, or cross over? Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. As you taught Torah, page 151, as you taught Torah to those whose names I bear, teach me Torah too. Its mystery beckons, yet we struggle with its truth. You meant Torah for us. Did you mean the struggle for us too? Don't let us struggle alone. Help us to understand, to be wise, to listen, to know. Lead us into the mystery. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Le'olam Va'ed. Page 154, please join with me. V'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavecha u'b'chol nafshecha u'b'chol me'odecha v'hayu ha'devarim ha'ele asher anochi mitzavecha hayom al levavecha v'shinantam levanecha v'dibarta bam b'shivtecha b'veitecha uvelechtecha v'derech uv'shachbecha uvekomecha ukashartam leot al yadecha v'hayu letotafot bein einecha uchetavtam Al mezuzot beitecha uvish'arecha lema'an tizkeru va'asitem et kol mitzvotai v'yitem kadoshim le'elohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem me'eretz Mitzrayim lihiyot lechem le'elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem. We end that prayer by speaking the first word of the next prayer on the next page, emet, truth. Because somehow we look at the past of our people's existence, and the truth of God's redemption is so evident by the fact that we're still here. We came through the hurricanes. About every 20 years there's a nasty, nasty hurricane, and occasional earthquakes and tsunamis, and we're here. Because God has redeemed us and seen us through the storms of life. And so it's not easy to remain unbelievers. But it is easy to be able to say, Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, who is like you, O God, among all those that are worshipped. Page 158. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, Mi kamocha nehedar b'kodesh. Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Malchutecha ra'u vanecha, Bokei hayam lifnei Moshe uMiriam, Ze'eli anu v'ameru, Adonai Adonai imloch le'olam va'ed. And it has been said, the Eternal delivered Jacob from the arms of one stronger than himself. Baruch atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael. Page 161. Please pray with me. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours, and over these Virgin Islands. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, haporei sukat, shalom aleinu, haporei sukat, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al Yerushalayim, ve'al kol amo Yisrael, ve'al iye betulah. Page 162. Od hi le'olam, ברית עולם. כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורות ברית עולם. We begin our tefillah, beginning on page 164 and following. It's the prayer that we have an opportunity to stand as individuals before God, to step into God's presence and take our minds off of the people sitting next to us or in front or behind us and just think about the amazing presence of God before whom we stand, who, no matter how big this universe may be, and we're getting a little more of a glimpse of that through our new telescope, God still has time for each one of us and the prayers we need that our hearts alone can open and express. Please rise. We'll begin together and then leave time for silence, and when you're done with your prayer, please be seated. Adonai sifatai tiftachu fi yagi tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Abraham, Elohei Yitzhak, Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomel Hasadim Tovim, V'konei Hakol, V'zocher Chasdei Avot V'imahot, U'mevi Geula Livnei V'nehem, L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Ezrat Sarah, Ata Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayei hakol, Ata Rav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel hayim behesed, Mechayei hakol berachamim rabim, Somech nofelim v'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומידו מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיה הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel Shalom bimroma, Yaseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'al kol yoshvei tevel, v'imru,
This is my favorite place to worship. This very sanctuary, this building, which is so intimate and so beautiful. And I think back about other important buildings in our people's past that stood strong until they didn't. There was that tabernacle, portable building, or a tent that went through the desert with us until King David brought it to Jerusalem, his capital, and then in that place at the top of the city, his son Solomon built a temple and took that ark and put it in that temple. And it lasted for a while until 586 before the Common Era, when Nebuchadnezzar decided to do away with it. And then this wonderful Persian emperor, Cyrus the Great, let us return from exile, build our temple over again, and it lasted for a while. And then King Herod decided to make it better and bigger. It was quite an imposing structure until the Romans decided to knock it down, the year 70. Oh, listen to the wonderful band of the steel drum down the street. Isn't that wonderful? So I think about all these buildings. They're there, and then they're not there. Now, think for a moment. This is a little Jewish trivia. What two structures are we required to make in Jewish life? What do you think? A sukkah, that's one. What is a sukkah? Just for those who don't know, and make sure we know. The sukkah is a temporary structure that has palm fronds, or if you don't live where there are palm trees, other branches of trees on top that let some sunlight through and rain through and has some flimsy sides perhaps, and at least one side is open. What else? What's the other structure? We're not commanded to build a home, but we're commanded to build a symbol of our home. When we get married, what happens when we get married? Did you say it? A huppah. A huppah is a what does it look like? It's being held. It's just a piece of material being held up by a few poles, by 4 poles. It has no sides. It flaps around in the wind. These are not permanent type structures to give us protection, are they? And yet they're the ones that we're commanded to build. Why is it that our tradition tells us to build flimsy structures? Any ideas? What is it? So we can keep moving? Okay. Like when needed, we can keep moving. Okay, it could be. Any other ideas? So we don't get too tied to something that exists. Okay. All good ideas. Any other ideas? Say it again. Your faith in what is in your heart? Your faith in God is in your heart, not in the building you build to represent God? Okay. Any other ideas? I'll add one to the mix. To teach us our vulnerability. That we can't protect ourselves from the hurricanes and the storms of life by building strong buildings, or our faith by building strong temples, as Dorothy suggested. What makes us strong? What did you say, Dorothy? Your faith. There's a house, if you go down to Garden Street and then up Commandant Gata, there's a big old house that used to belong to the Simmons family, and you'll see a bell-shaped, the house is falling apart, but it used to be a grand house. And it has a bell-shaped cornerstone that says Simmons, 1848, and the Hebrew equivalent date, and at the bottom in Hebrew it says, Im Hashem lo yivne bayet shav amalu bonav. If the Lord does not build the house, its builders labor in vain. It's a recognition that we can't make structures that are going to protect us from life. They're going to keep us strong through the next hurricane or the next earthquake or wildfire, whatever it is that affects you wherever you live. Now, I can tell you I have a tremendous respect for hurricanes. I grew up in Connecticut, where we did have hurricanes, not like here, but we did have hurricanes. I was even evacuated as a child from Hurricane Carol at age 5, when the waves were crashing against our house. And we had to leave and go to friends at higher ground. And we came back at 4 a.m. to see that the shed next to our house had all of our extra things and it was gone. And for years after that, if people said, where is this or where is that? They said, oh, that was it's gone. It's out in the Atlantic somewhere. But I remember other hurricanes blowing through when I was up in West Hartford, not at the shore. And the hurricanes were not very strong. And I used to love to sense the power of them by climbing a tree and sitting in the tree during the hurricane. And as an adult living in the west coast of Florida, when there was a hurricane way out in the Gulf somewhere, I would go and body surf because it would make big waves, and it was wonderful. Of course, I didn't feel endangered because I knew that the storm was not threatening me, and I loved feeling its power. Now, those of you who live on this island know about hurricanes. And you know about feeling traumatized by hurricanes and feeling very vulnerable to what those hurricanes have done to your lives and ripped off your roofs. And I just remember Rabbi Brad Boxman telling me when I was coming here that in Hurricane Marilyn in 1995, he and his wife were kissing each other goodbye as their house was coming apart around them. But you're here. You're all here. I know there are plenty of people who aren't. There are lots of people who got scared, moved away. But you're here because you kept your faith in knowing that your strength does not come from the house that you build or the roof and the hurricane clips that connect the roof to your house or the house to the foundation, but it comes from your faith that you will make it through whatever trauma is sent your way. And let me tell you, the real hurricanes of life are often not the physical ones. They're the ones we create ourselves through our own mistakes in life and the relationships that we mess up. And those hurricanes come swirling through our lives like none other. The question is, are we going to be here again when the hurricane finishes swirling through our life? And that has a lot to do with faith. That your relationship can make it. Because it's not just the two of you or your family, but there's that added presence, a saving presence in your life that you know will get you through no matter what. That you know if you end up with no home at all, you'll be okay because God has got your back. So on this Hurricane Supplication Day, we remember if God does not build the house, its builders labor in vain. And if God does not build us, then we'll be lost. But if we walk with God, we will be there for the next storm and the one after that and feel victorious that we survived and we've come through. You remember the song of Hannah Senesh, Eli, Eli? You remember she was, for those of you who don't know, she was from Hungary. She went to Palestine. She wrote these words walking on the beach in Caesarea. And then she joined the effort against the Nazis. It was parachuted into Croatia, ended up being caught by the Nazis, brought back to Hungary, and eventually killed. But her heroism, her faith, keeps us in a perspective of strength and hope and love today. If you know it, please join with me. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer le'olam, ha'chol ve'hayam, rish rush shel ha'mayim, be'rak ha'shamayim, tfilat ha'adam, ha'chol ve'hayam, rish rush shel ha'mayim, be'rak ha'shamayim, tfilat ha'adam. Oh God, my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the crash of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. We're turning our thoughts now to those who need healing. Let's all include ourselves in that. But especially we pray for those who are in need of special healing today. And they include Lori Allen, Pauline Balsam, Alex Botros, Emil Cohen, Quinn Copps, Tom Kraft, Irva Denham, Judith DiDomenico, Allison Durst, Dave Edwards, Yigal Ehrlich, Kathleen Arian, Gina Talia Faranick, Fagel Fetterman, Neema Fills, Marcy Finkelstein, Paula Finkelstein, Julie Friedman, Mary Gleason, Marion Goodman, Rick Gratch, Lee Marsh Grayson, Marilyn Grishman, Alan Buck Hine, Kimberly Jackson, Amanda Barry Johnson, Violet Adelaide Johnson, Kim Kadingo, Daryl Corin, Ed Corin, Jay Kranitz, Helen Lenneman, Sherry Levin, Linda Levinson, Steve Markowitz, Siobhan McCourt, James Nicholson, Maria Grace Nicholson, Edward Pascal, Arthur Pomerantz, Grace Poon, Rose Pupko, Joshua Riddell, Matthew Ress, Dorothy Ring, Brooke Robin, Steve Rockstein, Henya Rubens, Mary Sanchez, John Schenkel, Ruth Schloss, Jeremy Silverman, Maxine Shayna Stark, Bill Stein, Steve Steinberg, James Tunick, Robert Tunick, Rona Wolfson, Rhonda Werbel, David Allen Yoshkovitz. Are there others that we need to mention from those in the congregation? Alfred Lockhart Mills, yes. So? Okay. Anybody? And do you have someone amongst to mention for healing from those online with us?
Shayna Lieberman.
Tim McGaffick, the Shanker family, Brenda Henley Richardson.
Eugene Bradshaw.
Okay. Thank you. Well, God, we ask that those we've mentioned out loud for healing and those we have in our hearts whose names we have not mentioned out loud, but for whom we pray that the healing for them might be complete, might come speedy, that it might be the healing that they need now at this moment. Find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. Mi sheberach imotenu mekor haberacha li'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shelema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. Marilyn Blackhall is the president of our congregation. She has a few announcements.
Greetings, everyone. I'm so glad to see you all here, as I am every Friday night when I am able to be here in person. welcome back, Penny and Hank, and Dorothy and Mark. I haven't seen you, and we've all been gone, and so many of the rest of you who are here. So it's good to see you and good to have all of you. As I say every week that I speak, it's great to have the people on Zoom because I feel enriched by all of their presences. It feels like it's not just us, but it's all the rest of us. And today there are probably maybe 25 or 30 people on Zoom. So that's a very nice thing. I'd like to greet our guests, visitors. Would you tell us your name and where you come from? So from Virginia, celebrating the first year of their marriage. That's wonderful. And I'm very bad with names, but we have a new person who's been coming for the last couple of weeks. Can you tell us? I'll try to remember it again, but I'm just always bad with names. Amy Wagner until January 1st? Aha, great to have you. Anyway, we have services tomorrow morning at 10:30 via Zoom. And on August the 7th, there will be a Tisha B'Av celebration at Megan's Bay. And it will be geared to the children, but the adults need to come also and make this a very special occasion. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.
Actually, we'll be starting with Torah study tomorrow morning at 10:30. So I had the pleasure of meeting this nice young couple, Joe and Anna Skolnick, is that right? Who told me that it's their anniversary in 2 days, their first anniversary, and I asked them if they would allow us to bless them up in front of the open ark. And they agreed. Oh yes, there's a little oneg, very simple oneg, up at Lilienfeld on the deck. Please rise as they open the ark. Very good. Here, go stand next to Joe. Let me look at both of you. What a wonderful occasion. Thank you for giving us the merit of celebrating with you this very special time. People remember being here, and sometimes they get married here and they come back. So when you come to renew your vows at 25 and 50 years, come back here. And yeah, people remember. I met a young man, his young girlfriend here, and he said, we just arrived from France in a sailboat. I wanted my girlfriend to see where I had my bar mitzvah. So welcome back, or welcome here to this special place. And we hope that this will be a blessing that will carry you into your married life. Because everybody here is going to help me bless you today. We're going to all think about the blessings that have strengthened our relationships and made our relationship as strong as they could ever possibly be, and to project those relationships and those blessings onto you, and maybe even unaware of exactly where they're coming from, you'll receive them. So may God bless you and keep you. May God bless you with all good things, but keep you from being possessed by those things. May God's face shine upon you and be gracious unto you, and make you sources of grace to each other and to the world around you. May God lift up God's divine face upon you and grant you wholeness and wellness, because you face life and walk through life together. Congratulations. And stay right where you are. Please turn in your prayer books to page 587, where we're going to join in the alternative Aleinu. Here, you can look on with me. It's not the traditional one. Right here. עלינו לשבח לאדון הכל, לתת גדולה ליוצר בראשית, שהוא שם חלקנו לייחד את שמו, וגורלנו להמליך מלכותו. ואנחנו קוראים ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים, הקדוש ברוך הוא, שהוא נוטה שמיים ויוסר ארץ, ומושב יקרו בשמיים ממעל, ושכינת עוזו בגופי מרומי. הוא אלוהינו אין עוד, אמת מלכנו אפס זולתו, ככתוב בתורתו, וידעת היום והשבות אל לבביך, כי אדוני הוא האלוהים בשמיים ממעל, ועל הארץ מתחת אין עוד. Page 591. Please pray with me. May we gain wisdom in our lives, overflowing like a river with understanding. Loved each of us for the peace we bring to others. May our deeds exceed our speech, and may we never lift up our hand but to conquer fear and doubt and despair. Rise up like the sun, O God, over all humanity. Cause light to go forth over all the lands between the seas, and light up the universe with the joy of wholeness, of freedom, and of peace. ונאמר והיה אדוני למלך על כל הארץ, ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד. Congratulations. And now, before we part, we turn our thoughts from our earthly course to our loved ones who have gone before us. We live in this universe in less than the blink of an eye. Chaim Potok said, the blink of an eye is nothing in and of itself. But what we do with that moment of blink is what makes all the difference in terms of whether our lives mean something in this tangential universe that swirls around us. And so we think of the yard sites of our members and our past members: Tzipora Ben Lisa, Judith Julia Cohen, Deborah Lynn Cook, Isaac D. DeCosta, David Maduro de Castro, Miriam De Leon, Benjamin Del Valle, Daisy Grishman, Daniel Jacobs, Seymour Dutch Cass, Seymour Kessler, Flora Alice Lilienfeld, George Lindo, Ella Marks, Jack Oberweger, Sarah Athias Robles, Bernice Rosenthal, Louis Stark, Melvin Zucker, and we observe the yard sites of our high members: Cecilia Baruch, Marcy Berlin, Murray Charon, Lou Chohanoff, Edith Cohen, Lil Cohen, Robert Koop, Philip Theibisch, Theodore Finkelstein, Howard Furman, Roberta Geller, Stephen Gendelman, Peter Glassman, Raymond Greenberg, Maurice Grob, Rita Hobbs, Evelyn Hochberg, Philip Hodes, Rosalind Horowitz, Helen Hubert, David Ivry, Florence Germansky, Sydney Kale, Adele Katz, Phyllis Kaufman, Vivian Klein, Samuel Lawrence, Fern Levy, Eleanor Lichtman, Louise Lifshus, Rose Linsky, Harry Metz, Frank Morris, Susan Murray, Alan Nadell, Meta Nathan, Kermit Obstgarten, Albert Paradise, Cassandana Perry, Helen Palker, Max Posniak, Louis Reidner, Earl Robinson, David Rudo, Ida Schatz, Cynthia Schumacher, Bernice Schreiber, Bernard Schwartz, Fanny Schwartz, Martin Schwartz, Jerry Seidman, Harry Schrankel, Max Silver, Harry Steinberg, Philip Turetsky, Arthur Weiss, Judith Weitzenkorn, and Corinne Weitzman. Are there names of those here in the sanctuary that need to be mentioned that haven't been mentioned yet? And are there names from among our Zoom attendees that need to be mentioned?
Marvin Miller.
As we think of them, we remember something else that Hannah Senesh said, that there are stars that we see at night which have long since gone out of existence before their light reaches our eyes. And there are those who have gone before us, and we see and we feel an enduring presence that their lives make as they travel through this universe forever. May those who are in mourning be comforted, and please rise together with those who mourn as they say these words of Kaddish on page 598, sanctifying God even in the face of death. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabba v'alma divarachir utei v'yamlich malchutei v'hayechon v'yomechon u'v'hayei dechol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shemei Rabba mevarach le'alam u'almei almaya yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnasei v'yitadar v'yit'aleh v'yithalal shemei dekudesha brichu la'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tush bechata v'nehemata da amiram bi'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shalama Rabba min shemaya v'chaim Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yamru amen. And now please look in your pamphlets and find this hymn which Judah Cohen in his book Through the Sands of Time quoted the words of it, written by Rabbi Benjamin Cohen Carion, who arrived in 1840 and got in a lot of trouble introducing reforms in this congregation that they weren't ready for, including the first Jewish confirmation service in the Western Hemisphere and the first women participating in services in the Western Hemisphere in a Jewish worship service. And we don't know the melody. I tried writing to the congregations in Jamaica and everywhere. Nobody could find the music, although Judah says it was sung here into the 1960s. You remember it? Well, maybe you remember the tune. We'd like to know. But I put it, because I didn't know the tune, I put it to the tune of Bendy Gamos that we do know. So please join with me. The words are a little old-fashioned, but they are his words. Oh, hurricane, great is thy power, tremendous is thy might. Oh, we remember this hour, thy dark and awful sight. But But though no human care and skill can e'er withdraw thy hand, one reigns in Zion's holy hill, whose fiat none withstand. Though thou canst shake both land and sea, thou art a creature still. How measureless thy power be, thou must obey his will. And couldst thou rage in all the sky above, all human thought, one word of him that lives on high, and though returnest to naught, we will then look on him above, whose arm alone can save the life that he in endless love his human creatures gave. Nay, hurricane can do not fear nor tremble for our lot. One greater yet there is here, 'tis Israel's unit God. Please extend your thoughts of prayer and hope to make through a season of hurricanes without any kind of damage to anyone in these oceans that surround us. And let us celebrate life through this hurricane season in joy. Shabbat Shalom.